Brilliance Audio presents
Jennie by Douglas Preston for Celine. Despite appearances to the contrary, Jennie is a work of fiction. However, there is no science fiction in this book. The scientific and behavioral experiments described here actually took place under different circumstances with the results as reported. Preface.
Many readers of this book, no doubt, will have heard of Jennie Archibald, or will remember the details of her life as reported in the press during the period of 1965 to 1975. As a boy growing up in Wellesley, Massachusetts, I myself recall reading about Jennie in the Boston Globe and other papers. The stories I read had a special meaning to me, since the town of Kibbencook, where she lived, lies only 8 miles from Wellesley. I remember my parents discussing Jennie at the dinner table. When I egregiously misbehaved, my mother more than once compared my behavior to Jennie. Jennie became, in a small way, a symbol of willful disobedience in our household. I decided to write a book about Jennie 3 years ago, while working on a story for Massachusetts Magazine about the Boston Museum of Natural History. I had the pleasure of interviewing Dr. Harold Epstein, a retired curator at the Boston Museum. During the course of the interview, the conversation shifted abruptly to the subject of Jennie, and it required a considerable effort to return to the topic of my article. This was when I first learned many of the unpublished details of Jennie's life. I was intrigued. Dr. Epstein was anxious to talk, and so I scheduled a second interview with him later that month. That was the genesis of this book. Why write a book about something that was already extensively covered in the press? The answer is quite simple. The more I delved into the subject, the more I realized that what was reported in the press was at best only a small portion of the story. With few exceptions, the articles were rife with inaccuracies, distortions, sensationalizing, and, in several cases, actual falsehoods. Most science reporters for newspapers and magazines did not have the scientific background to understand the ramifications of the story. Those involved with the story of Jennie's life were anxious to correct the record. Finally, the results of the Jennie research have been attacked by a group of cognitive scientists who, in my opinion, did not look at the results of the project as a whole. None of these ethologists actually met Jennie. Their attacks have been based on a detailed analysis of a 2-hour segment of videotape. This book tries to present the other 9 years of Jennie's life. At first, I planned to write a straightforward book with the usual omniscient authorial voice.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?